Good morning and welcome to the Congressional Medal of Honor dedication. I am Pickens County Council Chairman Jennifer Willis, and on behalf of the Pickens County Council, it is my awesome honor to welcome you on this very momentous occasion. We are blessed to live in the most amazing country on earth. Our own little piece of heaven on earth is right here in Pickens County. We are free to celebrate our beliefs, to pursue happiness in work and hobbies, and so many other things, because of the sacrifices of many brave men and women throughout the years. On this solemn day, the 71st anniversary of the D-Day invasion, when Allied powers landed on the beaches of Normandy, France, and began the liberation of Western Europe over the Nazis, under the Nazi control during World War II, it is appropriate that we pay tribute to 4 of our native sons who paid the ultimate price for our freedoms. Private First Class William A. McWhorter, Private Furman L. Smith, Private First Class Charles H. Barker, and Lance Corporal James D. Howe. We are forever in your debts, and there is no way to adequately show our gratitude for your service and your sacrifice. Today's ceremony and building dedications are a small token and a way to ensure that your legacies will be known for generations to come. We are grateful for all the friends and family that have gathered here today to show their gratitude to these heroes and families. First, I would like to recognize Pickens County Council Vice Chairman Trey Wrighthurst for his initiative on this building dedication program. His leadership has been very much appreciated. I also am very grateful for Pickens County Council member Neil Smith, whose assistance in the genealogy research and locating families and artifacts that were appropriate for these building dedications has been most helpful. Councilman Hensley Feensher and Councilman Tom Ponder are also in attendance to show our dedication and our gratitude to the family members. We also have in attendance the Mayor of 6 Mile, Ray Stoddard. We have the Mayor of Liberty, Eric Bowman. We have the former Mayor of Liberty, George Jackson. We have Representative David Hyatt and Senator Larry Warren. I would like to leave you with some words from Kelly Strong from the poem, Freedom is Not Free. I watched the flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud, he'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears. No, freedom isn't free. I heard the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen when a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of all the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. No, freedom isn't free, and we will never forget. At this time, I would like to introduce Chaplain Brad Phipps to begin the program with our invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Let's pray together. Almighty God, we thank you for this opportunity to honor Furman Smith, William McWhorter, Charles Barker, and James Howe, our Pickens County heroes who earned the Medal of Honor in their service of our country. Thank you for their lives and for their willingness to fight for our freedoms. As we remember them today, it gives us greater appreciation of the saying, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And Lord, that's what these men did, and we're truly grateful for them and their courage as they fought for us. We're also thankful for their families who had to endure life without these men. We ask you to grant them a sense of peace and comfort as we remember their loved ones. We also thank you for all Pickens County residents who have served in our armed forces and their families. We ask that you will bring comfort and healing to them, many who may still be fighting their battles as they experience PTSD and other related wounds. Please heal their bodies and their memories. We ask for protection for members of our military who may be in harm's way at this very moment. Keep them safe and give them the same courage in our current war as the heroes we honor today had in theirs. Be close to their families and give them strength and encouragement. Lord, may the memory of Furman Smith, William McWhorter, Charles Barker, and James Howe help us to follow their honorable example and be courageous warriors today in our present fight against evil and terror. We ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Would everyone please rise for the presentation of the college? Scout Troop of America 51.
Will everyone please join me for pledge of allegiance? Scouts attention. Scouts salute. Pledge.
You may be seated. I'd like to take a moment right now to recognize the family members of the honorees. These are all people from Pickens and from out of state that have come here. I just want y'all to give them a hand for making this people. Our speaker this afternoon is Major General James Livingston. He's asked not to have a big, long introduction. I recommend you read his citations in program, but he is one of only 79 living recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. If you would please give him a warm welcome. Major General.
Let me also acknowledge the Gold Star family members who are here today. Having lost a lot of Marines in combat, I think I have some understanding of your service and sacrifice. God bless all of you. For those veterans and all those on active duty today who have worn the cloth of this great nation, I thank you for your service and sacrifice and what it means, because it means we're free people. For all the political leadership, I thank you for your leadership and your acknowledgement of this service and sacrifice today through the awards being presented. To all of you ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, and thanks for being great Americans. The Medal of Honor, as stated, there's only 79 recipients alive. There's been a little bit more than 3,000 recipients since the Civil War, when the award was first presented. And as I acknowledge these servicemen today, if they were here and able to speak, they would say their actions were for their buddies and for America. And I'm speaking in their words. Their actions were for their buddies and for America. You know, America is a blessed country. Since the foundation of our great republic, young men and young women have rallied and volunteered and died to serve these United States of America. The founding fathers in their wisdom saw that the establishment of a standing Army and Navy would be critical to America's future and make sure we survive as a nation. And over the years, filling the ranks, from the early days to now, we have young Americans who have volunteered, raised their right hand and said, I do. Understanding they may have to risk their life. And in many cases, as we acknowledge today, gave it all. What they wanted was freedom. They wanted freedom from tyranny and the right to live and raise families and worship God as they choose. South Carolina has been a major contributor to the security of our nation from the beginning. In the last 2 centuries, we have been called upon to fight, both at home and abroad, for us to remain free. And not only us, but I want you to think about all the people who are free today that would not be free unless these young Americans were willing to serve and sacrifice. As we acknowledge D-Day today, let's all think about that service and sacrifice and what happened on those beaches years ago. We have fought to restore and maintain our great republic and to assist people all throughout the world. And again, millions still live free because of that service and sacrifice. We are honored today to honor 4 great men who demonstrated extreme courage and service to our nation during periods of conflict. These South Carolina men earn our nation's highest award, the Medal of Honor. And let me tell you, you don't go out to win the Medal of Honor. No one goes into combat to win the Medal of Honor. And if you receive the Medal of Honor, you are a recipient of the Medal of Honor. And you receive it on behalf of all the service and sacrifice of those you have served with. And again, I'm speaking for them. And today we forever memorialize it. The 2 World War heroes, our greatest generation heroes, are a prime example of these great men who have served and sacrificed and worn the call of the nation. These men were part of a generation, and we have some of them here today, not only saved this country, they saved the free world. The first great American in South Carolina is Private First Class William Alexander McWhorter. He was born in Liberty, South Carolina, where he also entered service. He served in Company M, 126th Infantry Regiment, 32nd Infantry Division, United States Army. William had not been married very long when at the age of 25, he earned the Medal of Honor for his actions on December 5th, 1944 at Lake in the Philippine Islands. The Liberty Magistrate's Office, located at 310 West Main Street in Liberty, is being named in his honor. Private Fireman Leon Smith was born in 6 Mile, South Carolina, and entered service in the town of Central. Leon served in the 135th Infantry Regiment, the 34th Infantry Division, United States Army. During the bitter fighting in Italy on May 31st, 1944, this 19-year-old American, although wounded, gave his life to save 2 of his buddies. The building has been named in his honor. It's a 6 Mile fire station located at 629 Olivet Road Korea has been called the Forgotten War due to the lack of active coverage, clarity, and interest, frankly, in the world's first response to global communism. Private First Class Charles Hayward Barker joined the Army in Pickens, South Carolina. Charles served in Company K, 17th Infantry Regiment, 7th Infantry Division, and at an age of only 18 years old, became the recipient of the Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of his buddies in Korea, in an area better known as Port Hill, on June 4th, 1953. The building to be named in his honor is the Concord Fire Station, located at 756 Concord Church Road in Pickens. The next, and you are a special community. You realize we're naming 4 Medal of Honor recipients. You ever think of that for a small community? I'm fixing to name 4 Medal of Honor recipients from this very small community. Golly, does that tell you about what a special community you live in, and about the service and sacrifice that you contribute? The next and final hero that we honor today is from my generation and served in Vietnam. Lance Corporal James Donnie Howe was also born in 6 Mile and entered service at Fort Jackson. James served in Company I, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment, the 1st Marine Division, United States Marine Corps. He covered a grenade, saving the lives of his brothers and Marines, his buddies, and earned the Medal of Honor in the Republic of Vietnam on May 6, 1970. Liberty Fire Station 2, located at 110 Rice Creek Road, will be named in his honor. These great Americans, these men who worn the cloth of this nation, understood what the stakes were. They understood what conflict was about. They understood what their obligation to America was about. And they paid the ultimate sacrifice. Each one of them served with honor and extreme courage in all 3 of these conflicts. Just think how they represented our nation, South Carolina, in your great area. World War II cost South Carolina 4,153 young men. Korea saw 467 natives in South Carolina die on the battlefield. Vietnam took 896. Do the math. 5,000, ladies and gentlemen, men from the great state of South Carolina died on behalf of this nation and the world. So these men we honor, and those throughout history who have sacrificed their lives, saved our nation and gave the world heart, gave the world hope in some most difficult times. They responded to the call of duty as these soldiers and Marines go walking around today in uniform responding to the call of duty. And let me say, if they don't respond, if these 18 and 19-year-olds don't respond, do not respond, we will cease to be a nation. I'm personally very proud to have worn the cloth of this nation. I am personally very proud I had a chance to serve with these men who are willing to wear this cloth and die in combat. Each one of these buildings will reflect on that sacrifice. With a 4-foot-tall granite monument engraved with the Medal of Honor. May we see and witness this service and sacrifice forever memorialized in this great part of the world here in Pickens County. These men, like so many men and women, help preserve our freedom. So to all you who live in this area, may their souls rest in peace. And may we forever have men and women who are willing to raise their hand and say, I do, understanding by raising that hand, it may cause their death. That's what America's greatness is all about. So to the families, to the friends, to the citizens of this great area, and to those four men, God rest their soul. And for the United States of America, may God always bless this great country and this great state. Thank you very much.
We have put together 4 short films, is the best way I can say it. I know there's a thing now about each one of these heroes, and we're going to be showing those right now in the order in which they received their Medal of Honor. Go for it.
Furman Leon Smith was born in 6 Mile, South Carolina on May 11, 1925. Furman grew up with his brothers and 5 sisters on his family's cotton farm. At age 12, Smith dropped out of school to work full-time on the family farm, a move that required him to grow up quickly and take on greater responsibility.
I think he did it because he had to. I think he did what had to be done for the family. Family came first, school came second. He liked school very much, but when duty called, he was there.
Smith was drafted at the age of 18 in July 1943, and though he had spent all his life isolated in his rural surroundings, he was destined to become an extraordinary soldier who would also become South Carolina's first Congressional Medal of Honor recipient in World War II.
When I was a kid learning about Furman's story, and I just had this image of what he would be like, he has to be just totally fearless, and what kind of demeanor he must have had. I was kind of in awe of that growing up. But then, one of the favorite stories that people would pass around when he was actually in Fort McClellan, this guy eventually becomes a Medal of Honor who kills 10 people to save 2 guys. They said that he could not stop crying when he was finally in basic training. And his emotions were so extreme that his crying would never stop, and a passing captain asked him, "Soldier, what's wrong with you?" And he says, "Sir, I'm homesick." And he says, "Son, don't you know how to act when you're away from home?" He says, "Sir, being away from home is why I'm homesick."
By the time of his deployment to Italy in January 1944, Smith had transformed from a homesick farm boy to a soldier focused and ready for war. It was on May 31st, 1944, while serving as a private in the 135th Infantry Regiment, that Smith left his legacy. On that day, while making their way toward Rome, Smith's group was hit with an intense German attack near Lanubio, Italy. Orders to withdraw were soon issued, but Smith, seeing 2 comrades injured on the battlefield, found himself unable to comply with the order. Instead, he elected to make a stand against the attack and attempted to hold off 80 Germans to save the lives of his fellow soldiers. Against overwhelming odds, he stood his ground until he was shot down and killed, rifle in hand. 2 days after his death, the Americans completed their mission to liberate Rome. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life, Above and beyond the call of duty, Smith was awarded the Medal of Honor on January 17, 1945, in front of his family's farmhouse. Selfless service, one of the Army's 7 core values, is described as putting the welfare of the nation, the Army, and your subordinates before yourself. There are few acts of selfless service and heroism greater than that of William McWhorter on December 5, 1944. On that day, just 2 days shy of his 26th birthday, Private McWhorter was engaged in combat against the Japanese on the Philippine island of Leyte during the Second World War. As a machine gunner, McWhorter fought in a defensive position with one assistant while the Japanese launched a heavy attack.
We heard later that when they would throw a grenade or something at them, that he would pick it up and throw it back and laugh at them because they had planned to kill him. But when this one came in, it was, I guess, ready to explode. And what we understood was that he picked it up and held it to his body and turned his back toward his friends so that they wouldn't be hurt. But that was, sort of him looking out for other people and thinking about them.
For this incredible act of sacrifice and courage, Private First Class William McWhorter was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor on September 27, 1945.
I got a letter from one of his buddies that was in the service with him, and he was telling me that William had been killed, and that was before we were notified by the War Department. Well, it was sad, and yet it was a happy time to know that he had tried to protect his fellow soldiers.
Following the war, McWhorter's remains were returned to his hometown of Liberty, South Carolina, where he was laid to rest in the Westview Cemetery. Though his life ended short, McWhorter's heroic act of selflessness lives on forever in our nation's history. He upheld the highest tradition in military service. Charles Haywood Barker was born in Pickens County, South Carolina on April 12, 1935. By the age of 18, his bravery and his selfless act of heroism in the Korean War would earn him our nation's highest military decoration. Barker grew up in 6 Mile, South Carolina with his 3 brothers and 5 sisters. He was employed as a textile worker in nearby Pickens and spent much of his free time hunting small game.
And then he decided he joined the Army. And when he was 17 years old, he joined the Army. Mom and Daddy had to sign for him to get in. They didn't like it, but that's his choice. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go fight for our country.
After basic training, he was assigned to the 7th Infantry Division, Company K, of the 17th Infantry Regiment. He served as an automatic rifleman in one of the most challenging and well-known battles of the Korean War. On June 4th, 1953, Barker and his platoon were on a combat patrol outside the Pork Chop outpost when they came across a group of Chinese soldiers digging emplacements.
They had out on maneuvers and they got cut off. And my brother took the ammunition and the guns and charged down, laid down behind the fire, and I believe it was 8 people. Got safety back to the boot camp, back to the camp where he was camped at. So he looked back, next time he saw me, hand in hand, come back with the enemy.
It was this heroic act of conspicuous gallantry and indomitable courage, above and beyond the call of duty, that earned Charles Haywood Barker the Medal of Honor. He fought to the end and went to his final rest as a soldier.
It really makes us proud. It's sad that he had to give his life, but still, it's an honor to have a brother that would do that. I just like to say I'm proud of him, proud to be his sister.
On June 4, 1954, Charles Barker was posthumously promoted to private first class. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Norman Barker, formally accepted their son's posthumous Medal of Honor on June 13, 1955. Charles H. Barker's remains were never recovered. His name is inscribed on the Wall of the Missing at the National Memorial of the Pacific in Honolulu, Hawaii. There are some stories so full of honor, courage, and sacrifice that it seems they could only come from fiction. But on May 6, 1970, the selfless actions of Lance Corporal James Donnie Howe paint a picture of just how far-reaching the arms of an American Marine can stretch. Lance Corporal Howe was born December 17, 1948 in 6 Mile, South Carolina. He joined the Marine Corps at the age of 19. And in June of 1969, he left American soil to fight communist aggression in Vietnam.
You know, my dad tried to talk him out of it, and we did, you know, I did. But he really wanted to go in, and he did.
That bravery and care for others shined bright on May 6, 1970, while Howe lay in his sleeping hole with 2 fellow Marines in a defensive position in the Quang Nam province.
May 6, 1970, about 2:30 in the morning, they was overrun with insurgents from Viet Cong. They got throwing hand grenades at them.
As the assault continued, a grenade landed in their midst, and Lance Corporal Howe threw himself onto it, completely covering the explosive with his body, absorbing the blast, and thereby protecting his fellow Marines. Howe went to his final rest as a Marine that morning.
He paid a supreme sacrifice. And the Bible says no greater love is a man that laid down his life for his country.
Lance Corporal James Donnie Howe posthumously received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Vice President Spiro T. Agnew presented the medal to Howe's family at the White House on September 15, 1971.
concludes this part of the dedication. Thank you all for coming. Look into your